Grüß dich, Mr. Hicks here. Today we'll be looking at U.S. infantry in the Great War. We won't be looking at all the weapons and technology used in the war, but we'll be looking at what the average soldier might have seen. Yeah, we're going to dive right into it. Okay, so the average soldier would be issued a 1903 Springfield bolt-action rifle. This gun is what soldiers in the U.S. Army used during World War I. This is what the average soldier carried into battle. You can see some pictures of it here with bayonet training, soldiers marching, and African-American soldiers showing this weapon. The 1903 Springfield was the gun that pretty much everyone used in this conflict for the Americans. It was very similar to the German, French, and British weapons used in this era. The bolt-action rifle was just a very common weapon. Each country used some variation of it for combat. This gun is very accurate. It doesn't fire very fast compared to, say, a machine gun, but it's very accurate. The Springfield would see later usage in World War II as a sniper rifle, and much later on continued as a sniper rifle. So even though it was no longer used as the main weapon, it was used for a very long time. Let's dive in. Alrighty, so we are now in Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades, a virtual VR game. Right now I'm pulling up the rifle. Nope. There's a few. Nope. Here we go. 1903. This is the American weapon of choice. It has a 5-round clip. I'm going to spawn in a bunch of those. Alrighty, so yay for warping. We're now in the range. This is the rifle itself, as you can see. It's a bolt-action rifle, which means you can fire one shot at a time. There's the bolt. That's what they refer to as the bolt. When it's open like that, you can't fire, but you can load it. This is the bullet that the gun uses, 30 out of 6. However, the bullets are usually chambered in these magazines, as you can see while I'm jumping around the screen. Right now I'm setting up the range. Oh, I think I sent it out a bit further than I would like. Oh, meters. Metric. Let's go to feet. Oh well. So, let's pick up our gun again. We'll grab one of these fancy magazines, as you can see here. Several bullets are stuck in that little clip. Now, the key thing is the bullet has to be pushed in, otherwise you'll do this. And you have no bullets. So how the soldier would load it is they put the clip in, they push all the bullets down, and then when they worked the bolt, that would push that little holder out. Now let's see the gunfire. Not bad for a first shot. Work back the bolt, that ejects the cartridge, now it's ready to fire again. Yeah, so that's kind of how a bolt-action rifle works. I'm just going to show off my prowess of shooting things in virtual reality that's perfectly comfortable. Fire again. Ooh, I'm getting good. 10 feet though. This gun is capable of hitting things way further away than 10 feet though, if you remember the chart. So this is really not even trying. See, now the gun's out of ammo. Let's adjust that range here for a second. You know what? Let's just go to meters. Switch to metric. Alrighty. Of course, the problem with having a gun that can shoot long range is in trench warfare, you usually don't have your head out to do it. Oh, that's why you always want to push the magazine all the way in. Now we'll shoot with 4. Alright, he takes the shot. Ooh, not bad. New round. So yeah, one of the problems with the bolt-action rifle is in trench warfare, you usually aren't having your head out to take really good aim like a sniper would. So bolt-action rifles had very limited use in combat because they didn't fire fast, so if the enemy was in the trench with you, you had to have very good aim, which this long rifle in close quarters would have been a bit uncomfortable to use. And it's really meant for long-range combat. I'm out of ammo again. Let's put in another magazine. So you can see why it was probably used as a sniper rifle more effectively probably in World War II and other conflicts. So here's the shot again. Yeah, I'm pretty good at this. As long as I can keep it in the gray. Alrighty. Keep firing off a few more rounds. But this was the weapon of choice. Infantry soldiers from enlisted through would be issued this weapon in the trenches. The Germans, the French, the British, they all had guns like this. Oh, and here I'm doing a little speed test. Let's show how fast the gun can fire. Now I'm not even trying to aim at this point, because I just want to show how fast the thing fires. Really, your limitation is how fast you can work the bolt. Oh wow, not bad for firing blind. Okay, well, that's it. Let's move on to the next weapon. Now, pistols are not as commonly issued to soldiers. Typically, officers received pistols. There's a few other types of soldiers, but this was not the standard issue weapon for most soldiers. However, pistols were very popular in trench warfare because of their small, easy to maneuver, and therefore very convenient in the cramped quarters of a trench. Now, the Americans used the Colt 1911, which is as detailed here. Now, this gun, the 1911, has been used in some way, shape, or form pretty much from 1911, well, through the modern era. You still see 1911s used by police officers. Some parts of the U.S. military still use them. Foreign countries use them. It's just a well-designed gun that has withstood the test of time. Let's dive right in. Alrighty, we're on range for the pistol. So officers typically have the pistol, and pistols were popular in trench warfare because, well, it's small and it's easy to move around in the tight spaces of a trench. Also, unlike the bolt-action rifle, you could fire it much faster. So here I am dinking around with it, showing you kind of what it looks like. Yep. Let's put a magazine in. Pull it back. Bullets in the chamber. And let's shoot something. Clay pot. Die! So, main purpose of the pistol as a sidearm is for officers. It was kind of a replacement for the sword, though you still had swords in this time period. If you've ever read the story 4 Weeks in the Trenches, some soldiers were actually, especially officers, were issued swords in combat. But pistols would eventually kind of replace swords for a lot of people. But here I am shooting at more targets. I have a bit more trouble aiming the pistol than the other guns, but close quarters weapon, good for when you're up close and personal in the trenches. Not a standard issue weapon for the average soldier, though. Most soldiers were issued a rifle, and as we'll see in a few minutes, even fewer soldiers were issued shotguns. Essentially, the pistol is the weapon of an officer. Oops. Alrighty, so this last weapon I'm showing off here is the combat shotgun. The United States is quite infamous for using shotguns in World War I. However, the Winchester Model 1897 was not developed for trench warfare, despite the fact it's called the trench gun. The Winchester 1897 was designed for the Philippines. After the United States acquired the Philippines from the Spanish in the Spanish-American War, well, the people of the Philippine Islands were not thrilled to join the U.S. as a territory, and many of them rebelled. Quite infamously, there was groups of them that were famous for fighting in jungles with swords and hatchets and other nasty weapons in close quarters. And so the U.S. Army basically commissioned the 1897 as a way of countering it, with kind of the mentality of, if you're going to be caught in a knife fight or a sword fight, why not bring a shotgun? But the details of the Winchester Model 1897 is it's a 12 gauge. U.S. soldiers use buckshot. And I'll tell you more about it. It's really just more interesting to see it in use than it is to, well, look at these pictures. There just wasn't a lot of great pictures of this gun from World War I. But, oh well, let's go into the simulation. Alright, we're now in the shotgun range, or a place to shoot them. Lovely day to be outside. Let's pull out the shotgun. Here's the trench gun. The trench gun's kind of a short, stubby little gun, for shotguns anyways. Here you can see what it looks like. The game's chosen to rough it up a bit, so it looks like it's been in a trench a bit longer than you'd think. There's the round. Essentially what a shotgun does is it shoots out several pellets with it. There's the gun and the pump. By working the pump, you put the round in the chamber. Let's take out a clay pot. Ha! Take that. Alrighty, now over here, let's take a look at the gun itself, really in use. So here's the trench gun again. Oh, oops. Oh well. So loads in. You remember that the ammunition capacity is 1 round in the chamber and then 5 in the tube. So there's a tube on the bottom. This meant that the gun had a fairly high capacity for holding ammunition. And the trench gun was very popular with U.S. troops because it was easy to aim. It could be fired very quickly. Oh, see, tried to put too many rounds in it. Well, anyways. Let's see there. There's one clay pot. Down. Next. Tiny pot gone. Yeah, miss. Oh, there we go. But no, shotguns were very popular because in the close quarters of fighting in a trench, you could fire down the trench and you'd have pretty much hit anything that you aimed at in the general direction. So, here we go, showing how the chamber, how it ejects. Americans use the trench gun quite a bit. However, the Germans hated the trench gun so much, they tried to get it banned from combat in World War I. Here I am trying to skeet shoot. Well, I could have done better at that one. We're going to edit some of this out. Yay for editing. So going back to the Germans, what the Germans tried to do is they tried to get the weapon labeled as inhumane and improper for warfare. The U.S. didn't really take this too seriously because, well, the Germans had introduced the flamethrower into the trenches, unrestricted submarine warfare, and so the United States didn't really take the shotgun ban very seriously. Because it was very useful. U.S. troops could jump into a trench and clear it out with a shotgun with ruthless, efficiency. I'm using the auto-load feature, the joys of technology. Let's try skeet shooting again. Or trap, I guess, technically. But anyways, so the trench gun was also used for deflecting projectiles. Soldiers who had trap shot or done duck hunting or something to that effect before the war, they'd be asked to take a shotgun and guard the trench. And essentially, if the Germans started throwing grenades, their job was to shoot them out of the air. So, a defensive, offensive weapon is what we've got here with this lovely trench gun. Apparently I'm out of bullets. Or shot. Anyways, let's put some more ammo in that thing. I think. Oh yeah, let's have some fun. No, so I hope you've enjoyed this video and got an idea of some of the weapons the average American soldier used. Machine guns and artillery were perhaps the real killers in the battlefield, which you can kind of get this feeling of despair that even though like some of these weapons were really incredible, compared to what the real killers in combat, you felt kind of powerless, even if you had a bolt-action rifle or pistol or even a shotgun, because you had artillery that could blow up a city block. You had chemical gas which could blind you and make you basically drown / suffocate with your own lungs. And so this is kind of what makes modern warfare so terrifying, is this weapon is capable of incredible things, but it's not the real killer on the battlefield. But anyways, thank you for watching my VR. Oh, before I forget, this is kind of a cool thing the shotgun could do. Trench guns could do what is called slam firing. Essentially, the idea behind slam firing is you can make the gun almost look like it's firing fully automatic, where every time you pump the gun and pull the trigger, if you time it right, it fires and ejects the round. And so you can kind of see how fast it's firing. Now, my aim is horrible because VR is kind of tricky to do it in, but it's surprising you can do it. I'll show a video of someone actually slam firing a real trench gun. It's more impressive than in, say, VR, because I can't hit anything. Oh well.